Hey, everybody, welcome to the Daily Self-Publishing Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Sutton. I'm here with Megan Bottom. We're going to be talking about her book, Nana's Pearls. Megan is an author, a speaker, and a blended family marriage coach. And she's written a fictional book called Nana's Pearls that helps with nonfiction problems. So I'm excited to talk to Megan. Megan, thank you so much for being on the show.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Jeremy. I'm super excited about what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for what you're doing. And it's funny, I saw your book. And so, I reached out for guests and you posted this and you said Nana's Pearls. I was like, oh, this is kind of for business and things. But I got to looking at it and I was like, oh, well, great. This is awesome. Because you did write it. You do have a fiction book, but it helps real life problems. So, I would love for you to, tell us about your book and how, a little bit about you and all that cool stuff.
Yeah, of course. So I did write a fiction book, and I did that intentionally because it touches on such a sensitive topic that I knew that if it was nonfiction, it would be unrelatable. And I wanted people to be able to read about the characters and think, oh yeah, that's me. Oh yeah, I get that. So it is totally fiction. The main characters in the book are Taya and Owen, and they have a blended family. And Taya is a new stepmom, Owen is a new stepdad, and they're trying to figure out how to navigate this new blended family that they have. Well, Nana comes along, which is Taya's maternal grandmother, and offers these pearls of wisdom. Each chapter is a new pearl of wisdom and how to apply wisdom to their blended family. So as an example, the very first pearl is actually this beautiful black pearl that Taya didn't even know existed. And Nana kind of called her out and said, that's the color of your heart because you need to work through some unforgiveness because your heart is black. And Taya works through the forgiveness and the unforgiveness in her blended family in order to work towards the next pearl and then the next pearl. So it really stacks onto each other. But the different pearls is what I teach on. And I love it because I can send people back to the book and how does that make you feel? And ask those kind of questions as they're reading through the book. And it opens up so many opportunities for me to teach on things like unforgiveness or boundary setting or prioritizing your marriage relationship. And it really opens up that opportunity for me.
Cool. I love it. So your husband, Dwayne, and you both have this business called Blessed to Broken or Broken to Blessed. I'm sorry.
Broken to Blessed. That's okay.
Broken to Blessed. And you're a blended family marriage coach. So tell us a little bit about that. What exactly is that? Why did you choose to do that with your business?
So it's a ministry more than it's a business. We do have a business license as opposed to a 501c3. And I did that on purpose, mainly because that makes the most sense when you're publishing a book. Side note, if you are a self-publisher, it makes a whole lot more sense to allow yourself to make money off of your book than to open it on profit and not allow yourself to make money off of your
Absolutely.
book.
Absolutely.
But so it's not a 501c3. We are not a nonprofit, but we are considered a ministry. And the biggest thing for me was when Dwayne and I got married, we each brought 3 children into our marriage. We are a blended family ourselves, and there weren't any resources for us. You can find so many resources on marriage, and you can find a lot of resources on blended families when it applies to the kids. But a blended family marriage, like we were stuck and we were getting poor advice or no advice or just like, oh, I really don't know what to tell you. So I wanted to become what we needed then. So that way we can help other couples that feel stuck like we were.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that. So let's talk about the 5 pearls of your book. You
Okay.
already told us the first one, so just let's go into the rest of them and just give us a, kind of a brief overview of what they are and why you decided those 5.
So typically when people come into a blended family, there's been a lot of trauma. Like there's been, divorces in the past and even just the current trying to figure out the co-parenting relationships and the custody schedules. So you really need to work through having a heart of forgiveness. I always say, when in doubt, give the benefit of the doubt and extend grace because nobody really knows what they're doing. So you need to pre-forgive, because you're going to make mistakes and just expect that and be ready to forgive that. And I feel like that's the part that's missing for a lot of people. And I don't mean to make this something that's hard because we've worked with a couple whose the ex-wife left narcotics out for one of the children to overdose on. And this baby is now, has a special needs because of decisions that was made by the baby's mom. There are hard things to forgive in blended families. And that's why I felt like the first one needed to be forgiveness, because the second pearl is boundaries. And you really can't set healthy boundaries from a heart of bitterness. You have to have a heart of forgiveness. And you have to do that hard work in order to set healthy boundaries in your marriage, set healthy boundaries in your relationship, and set healthy boundaries for the co-parents. And then I strongly believe that the most important relationship is in the home is the marriage. So many people put work first, or even good things like ministry or church, or even those kind of things ahead of their marriage. Well, the fact is that they're not in a covenanted relationship with anything else aside from their spouse. So that is the most important relationship. And that's the third pearl that we teach. A lot of times it's hard to, in blended families, you expect to put the children first. Well, children who are put first, that's where a sense of entitlement comes from. That's where a sense of not being able to fly and get out of the house and empty nest and eventually face that. Our goal is not to raise good kids. Our goal is to raise good functioning adults. And how you do that is by putting your marriage relationship first and allowing your kids to see what a healthy marriage looks like. So that's the third pearl. The fourth pearl is picking your battles. I tell a funny story about stuffed animals. I hate stuffed animals. And I think that I've been like threatened to be hung before because I can say that out loud, that I absolutely hate them. And I have this irrational fear of like spiders being in them, and just, I hate stuffed animals. So when I first moved in with my husband, we were married and we had these kids, and these poor kids had been through a lot of trauma leading up. You know, mom and dad divorced, mom's gone, dad's now raising us. And now there's this new mom in our home, and I made them get rid of all of their stuffed animals. I'm like, I told them they could keep 2. I let them keep 2, but that was, pick your battles. Like, seriously, so many fights happen over a dinner table. Pick your battles. Why are you fighting these little people over whether or not they'll eat their peas? Why are you letting that ruin your whole night? Pick your battles is the fourth pearl. And then the fifth one is, I'm sorry, I totally just went blank. The butterfly effect. I'm sorry. So the way this is explained is that if a butterfly flaps its wings on one part of the world all the way on the other side of the world, it could eventually become a tsunami. And that is so important when you think about your marriage and the different people that it affects. When you take it out further, how many people your blended family affects is huge. And so every decision that you make matters is the fifth pearl.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love the butterfly effect because one of my friends is a pastor, and he says, I believe when we'll get in heaven, we'll see people that we don't even know existed because we told this person about Jesus and this person about Jesus and all this stuff. And so you'll be walking down the streets of heaven, and he's like, oh, well, there's Joe, and he's here because of you, because you told Bob. And so I love the butterfly effect. I love that. So forgiveness, boundaries, marriage first, pick your battles, and the butterfly effect. I couldn't love those anymore. My wife and I, we have 2 kids, and we tell them all the time that mommy and daddy are more important to each other than the kids.
Yes.
They would say, but you are like right after that, you know? And yeah. So I remember my daughter, they're 6 and 8 now. And the first time we told them that, and she was like, what? You know, but it has to be because, anyway, I'm not qualified to talk on that. But anyway, I agree with you 100%.
You are absolutely right. It does have to be. And I am qualified to talk about that because that's what I do for a living. But your marriage literally has to be the most important relationship ever. And I remember when I was 16 years old and my parents went to Alaska for 2 weeks, and I was so mad at them. Like, how dare you? And my mom told me, she said, I know it feels like an eternity, but in 2 years, you're going to be gone. And I still have to love your dad. I still have to know who that man is. So I am going to Alaska to fall in love with your dad. And you just have to live with it. Like, sucks to suck, but I'm leaving.
I love it. I love that. I love it. You know, it's really cool. So we know you're an awesome person. We know you've used this book and you're helping people daily with your business / ministry. But tell me a little bit about, you know, what the podcast is really is. How is this helping you grow your business?
So we created a membership site around the book. So the 5 things that we teach on within the membership site. I debated on whether or not to do a course like with the 5 different things that you could teach, or to do the membership site. I eventually settled on a membership site because we can dig so much deeper in with couples that will invest for a year, as opposed to just like a one-time investment and go through the course and be done. So I like them to invest for a year and stick around with us, come through our coaching calls. We do coaching calls twice a week. And that way, if they get stuck on anything and we need to really hash through one of the different 5 steps, we can talk about that on the coaching calls. And it helps other couples that maybe have just come on, like, oh, okay, so that's what the next step is, or different, so we have a lot of interaction on our coaching calls. And then I've also done a ton of research on the 5 pearls. So we have a book club in our membership site where we go through different books relating to the 5 pearls. So right now, Lisa Turkerhurst just wrote an amazing book, How to Forgive When You Can't Forget. And we're going through that together with our membership site, going through that book. And it just really has helped me be able to dig into the life of these people. So from a business side, I not only get the profit from the sales from the book, which honestly, you don't make a lot of money when you sell a book, but it is profit. But then also I'm using those affiliate links, like with the books that we're doing the book clubs for. And that gives me a little bit more of a residual income with those affiliate links. And then on top of that, we're using the membership site as a monthly membership site that continues to pay. And I ask them to commit to a year. If they can't, I totally get it. But it's $40 a month that we get for each couple that comes into our membership site.
Absolutely. I love that. That's really cool. So basically you wrote the book and then you really kind of built your business around it is what it's looking like to me.
That's exactly what we did. We had our first blended family marriage retreat scheduled in March of 2020. Everything was booked. We were all ready to go, and COVID happened. So our goal was to do a book tour, which was really going to be more like marriage retreats as opposed to just a come see me talk about my book. It was going to be marriage retreats with our book, and that just fell through. So that's when the membership site more or less happened. And we basically do a retreat form, but in a more in your house, in your face kind of scenario.
Right. I love that. So as far as taking people from your book to your membership site and those kind of things, what's really your process from that? Is it just, do you have lead magnets within the book itself, or is this something you're emailing afterwards? How does that work, Megan?
All of the above. We do have lead magnets in the book. Mainly it's leading people to our website. And then once you're on our website, you get a pop-up and I believe right now the one that we're really pushing is a 5-day challenge to add intimacy to your marriage, to your blended family marriage. So what you get a pop-up at our website, and then I have your email address. So you're going to get my, I'll email this out to our audience. You're going to get our weekly YouTube videos. You're going to get all of that to get to know us a little bit better through our email strings. And then we also have a Facebook group. I run one for blended family marriages, and then I run another one for just stepmoms. And between the 2 groups, I probably have there's over 1,000 between the 2 groups. So I'm constantly involved in that. I'm just now learning Instagram. I don't get it. I'm trying really hard to get it. But I'm kind of trying to build a following on Instagram because I've heard that YouTube will turn off your comments, and I don't want to lose that interaction. And a lot of YouTubers will send people to Instagram. Like, if you want to comment on our latest video, go to our Instagram. So I'm trying to learn. I'm trying hard.
I know Instagram's not my favorite. I'm really most active on Facebook and LinkedIn. But yeah, I like that you have the groups. There's a ton of people that teach growing your business with Facebook groups and things like that. And so I love that. But I really want to key in on what you said, because I think it's very important when you talked about your email list is you're letting your people get to know you better.
Yeah.
Because people, let's face it. Yeah, you have a ministry, but it's for profit. It's a business. You're trying to help people. We can't. I'm a Christian. We can't help people if we don't have things to help them with.
Right.
Money's not evil. The love of money is evil, but I had a mentor that said money makes you more of what you already are. So if you're a jerk, you're more of a jerk. If you're a giving person, you give more. And I 100% believe that. But one of the things I love that you said is you're letting people know who you are in your emails, because people don't buy or work with people that they don't know, like, and trust. And so That's really what the email. So is that something that you learned, if you just instinctively felt like that was the thing to do?
That is definitely not something that I learned. I I mean that I instinctively, I'm sorry, that was not instinctively me. No. I did a ton of research when, not only when I was working up towards publishing, but also like in building a YouTube channel. The one thing that you have control over is your mailing list. And we've seen this recently with censorship on Facebook,
Yes.
that that could go away tomorrow. And especially for people, and I'm not trying to create any kind of conflict here, but for people that are preaching God, I
Sure.
I can see that being taken away pretty easily. And there's nothing we can do about it. We don't own Facebook, but
Right.
nobody can take away my email list. We own that. That's something that I have built and that I have nurtured. And I've used the different areas in order to join one of my Facebook groups. I need your email address. I ask for that in order as a right of entrance. So I
Right.
own those people's email addresses. And I think that people shy away from using email because it's not as instantly gratifying. If you're on Facebook, you're going to see the likes right away, or you're instantly going to get the comments or all of those things. But really, if you can nurture a good email list, that's where the money is. That's where you got to concentrate, because you can build it to the point that they do get to know you. They get to hear your voice. They, through YouTube and through the different videos that we send out in our emails, they get to know us, and we can build that know, like, and trust factor.
Absolutely. You really said it. We have to own our traffic. Russell Brunson's really good about talking about this with his new book, Traffic Secrets, and everything else he ever talks about. But, we don't own Facebook, we don't own Instagram or YouTube or whatever. And no matter what side of the spectrum you land on, liberal or conservative or Christian or non-Christian or socialist, capitalist, whatever, eventually those channels could say, hey, we're not going to let any more capitalists talk. We're not going to let any more non-Christians talk. Whatever it is, they can do whatever they want. And we've seen that this year.
Yes.
And it's really, really been crazy to see it happen. But yeah, I mean, we never know. So I love that you're owning your email list. You're sending out emails. How often are you sending emails out to your list, Megan?
I try to do it at least once a week. I because they know to expect my YouTube channel, my YouTube videos once a week,
Mm-hmm.
but then I try to send out something else twice a week. I know no matter what, my YouTube videos are going out on Wednesday mornings because we publish on Tuesday nights, but then I try to send something else out on the weekends, just to kind of, and it's easy because weekends are big transition days for blended families. So just something like, hey, thinking about you, because because of the transition that I know that you're about to experience this weekend, just thinking about you, those kind of things. And just to kind of build some encouragement there. And it's important, yes, pitch your email list. Yes, definitely. If you don't ask, you're not going to receive, but it's so important to just nurture it sometimes and be able to say, I truly care about you. I truly am thinking about you. That's something that I really am doing. And I think that goes a long way too, as opposed to every email that they get is just another sales pitch, another sales pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that you said that is huge, I think, is know your audience. Like you said, I have no idea that the weekends is a transitional. Now, when you said that, it makes sense. You're going back to mom or dad or whatever, and
Right.
we see, like, we let my kids go stay with my mom and dad all the time, and we meet at this gas station halfway between, and I always see other people doing the same thing, and
Yes.
I know that's like a mom and a dad or whatever, but I didn't know that. But you know your audience, which is a
Yeah.
huge thing, because if you don't know your audience, then you can't sell to them, you can't grow your business, so on and so forth. So
And that's where the social media plays in. I hang out in all kinds of stepmom groups and blended family groups that I don't own, because I see those kind of things. I can use their verbiage in my emails, because then it feels like, oh, you're in my mind. You know me. No, I really do, because I've been stalking you on Facebook forever. but you can use the verbiage that you keep hearing. One thing that I keep hearing is, I'm very overwhelmed. And I'm like, oh, that word has shown up so many times. And really, with COVID, everybody's overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Everybody's feeling that, but things that people don't think about, like you said, in a blended family, do we continue our custody going back and forth, even though mom's not social distancing? Does dad still take custody of the kids, putting maybe a new baby in danger? Like all of those things. And that's something that you can pick up on the temperature of that in Facebook groups. So many people ask, I'm part of this Facebook group. How do I get these people? Well, you just love them where they're at and you speak their language.
Mm, I love that. That's any business. Love people where they are and speak their language. I love you said stalk people on Facebook. I do the same thing. I hope most business owners do at this point. Not in a creepy way, but
Right.
just learning, the psychographics of people and the things that they, know and love. And, it's using the words. I have a friend that did something for tired mamas is basically what it was. And she's like, hey mama, do you need a break? And it was like the greatest ad she had ever run because
Yeah.
yeah, mama needs a break. My wife's laying in there with the kids right now getting them to go to sleep, so I guarantee you she wants a break when we're done. So I absolutely love that. So one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs talk about, and I think Tony Robbins really started talking about this the most, is success really does leave clues. So kind of what clues would you leave the audience with today on either how to write your book, how to get it done, how to market it, launch it, whatever it is, any aspect of it you want to talk about?
There are so many different areas with publishing a book that nobody tells you about. Like nobody, you think you wrote it, and that's the hard part. You don't realize that once the book is written, I think I've probably read that book over 100 times. And that is so frustrating to me. I'm a quick person, so to reread something is annoying to me. I hate watching movies more than once. People that can sit down and watch the same movie over, I don't get it. Like, how this is ending. I don't understand it. Much less to read something that I created over and over and over again. But you trust your publisher for sure. I mean, you trust your editor for sure. But then your editor sends you, oh, did you think of this? No, I didn't think of that, but I don't want to think of anything else. And you have to go back and forth. And it's such a process. And I just say, do the work, do the process, walk through it, because it's so worth it in the end. And we did a Facebook Live when I got my first rough book that I could actually hold and feel and see and look at. We did it when we did a Facebook Live when we got that in the mail, and it's like delivering a baby. It truly is like, right, like I got a hold of my baby that day, and it was amazing, and I'm crying, and it was so worth it. But just know that the labor pains are worth it, and the work that it takes to build that baby is so worth it, and just keep pushing through because it's worth it. But don't write just for the sake of writing. Have an idea behind that. Have a business or a ministry or something behind that, because writing is, unless you are like J.K. Rowling, writing is never going to make you rich. It's never going to make you wealthy. It's honestly probably never going to support you. And what you need to do is be able to have something behind that book that you can then monetize and make it worth it.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And so I help people write and publish books to grow their business, and that's what we talk about a lot of times. The book, the book in of itself can make money doing things the right way, but it's really for business owners, it's just a way to get someone in your door.
Yeah.
And introduce yourself to someone, because these books cost $2.50 to print. And I would rather hand somebody a book. If you hand somebody a business card, they're gonna throw it away anyway. So you hand them your book, and then it's you serve people. Like you said, it's your baby. It's you birth this over time. And I love that you said go through the process and just live within that, because it is a process. You write, you can be highly motivated for weeks at a time and get it done, and then you're like, look at the screen on your computer and think, oh, I can't type one more letter. So you just have to. But I love that you talked about go through the process. It's amazing. So awesome. Gosh, Megan, you've given us like a ton of things. I've written down at least, 20 different things on my piece of paper that you said that were amazing. So
Awesome.
I love that. Absolutely love it. Do you think you'll ever write another book again?
It's so funny. Oh my goodness. So I I equate it to having a baby. And in the middle of my book launch and in the middle of pushing it all, everybody was like, when's the second book coming? When's the second book coming? And I'm like, that's like asking a mom that's still in the hospital, hey, are we gonna have another baby? When's the next one? Can you give me a minute to recover? And I've been wrestling with that. I've already shared with you that my beliefs are Christian, and I told God over and over again that I didn't have time to write the first book. And He woke me up one morning. It was 3:30 in the morning. I'll never forget. And God was like, "You got time now." Oh, really? So I literally wrote the first 3 chapters of Nana's Pearl from like 3:30 to 6:30 in the morning one morning because God told me now's the time. Like, when else are you going to do it? So I guess I'm waiting. If I'm being honest, I probably already have the structure. I already have it outlined in my head, but I'm just not ready to commit to, yeah, I'll write that. That'll come out. Not
Yeah.
ready to commit to that yet.
So you're definitely writing a second book. I love it. It's funny you said you already have the structure and outline in your head, because really once you write a book and you figure out how to do it, you can really reproduce it again. It's not a hard thing to do. It just takes time.
Right. Writing isn't hard, but it's not easy either. It's not,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I tell people that all the time. It's easy to do, but it's hard. So
Yeah,
which doesn't
exactly.
make any sense. Talk about I'm going to ask you this last question, and then we'll kind of tell people where to find you and things like that. But what did you do to launch the book? What was the process like? And would you change anything?
So I launched my book in 2020. That was exciting.
Yeah.
We had a marriage retreat scheduled for March of 2020, and that was supposed to be our book tour. Was we were going to do a bunch of marriage retreats,
Right.
and we had our first one scheduled for March of 2020, and we were going to launch in March of 2020, and everything came to a screeching halt. And in fact, I really pulled everything back. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? And finally, because like everybody, we thought, okay, a couple months, and a couple months turned into a couple more months. And I launched November 12th of 2020. So it's just been not even 6 months yet that it's been out. But in the process, I was already building my launch team. I was because we had our launch team ready in March, which with a bunch of blended families that had already been through a lot of our coaching programs. So they had already known the pearls and they were all ready to share and all of the things. So I just kept nurturing them for those 6 months before we finally launched in November. I just kept feeding. I think there was 6 couples that I just kept feeding into them. I kept building the designs in Canva for them to share on their Facebook page. So I kind of built the anticipation that way. And then I went into pre-sales. I went into pre-sales for a full month. And during that time, I really just Facebook Live, and we did a YouTube video every day, and we did everything really to push that launch on November 12th. So it was a big deal.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Megan, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you about your book and Nana's Pearls. I'm going to order this book tonight and get it so I can start reading it and check it out. But where can we come find you if we want to check you out, if we need coaching on our blended family, and if we want to get your book?
So I'm everywhere at Broken to Blessed. That's the best way to find me. It's broken, the number 2 blessed. On Instagram, I'm broken to _blessed, but everywhere else, I'm broken to blessed. Facebook is broken to blessed. That's our Facebook group. If you want to join, that's really our brokentoblessed.org. That's the best way to find us.
Absolutely. Love it. Megan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate meeting you, Jeremy.